We are only 3 weeks from a fascist takeover. I know that's a big claim, and I'll instantiate it in a moment. Do you know that every 2 years we have 600 new US federal laws on average? I'm Andrew White. I've done my due diligence and research for this speech, and my personal library includes a bunch of books on governance like Last Emperor X, Ordinary Men, and Stalin. I know it's a mixed bag. I would give Last Emperor X a read if you get the chance, and Ordinary Men is very eye opening. The federal government abuses their power and resources. Giving the power back to the people will strengthen the foundation of America. Today, people have a strong desire to enforce their values on others and around the country. Governments having power has a lot of negative local impacts. Vanderklippe shows how inane and power-hungry people can become when enforcing their ideology and morality on other people. Soon, being right in your eyes in your local area isn't enough. You need everyone in the whole world to change to fit your view. Life is a Story is a YouTube channel that covered the wave, an experiment done by a history teacher that had to be shut down within 3 weeks because of how authoritarian and fascist the students were becoming. He was worried that they would become violent. Speaking of teachers and schooling, poor public social education system has led some parents into looking to alternatives like homeschooling and private schooling. Bozeman talks about the government overstep in education. Schools in cities are vastly different, let alone individuals. The one size fit all is more like fit the mold or you're doing life wrong. The DOE focusing on earnings after graduation instead of fulfillment. If you want to become an English teacher, you may make a lower salary annually than an engineer. But if you get fulfillment from molding the minds of tomorrow, it's still a very valid position in our society and very much needed. When I was younger and I heard that my little brother and sister were going to be homeschooled, I was actually very worried for them. I didn't think that they'd be socially adept, and I was worried that my parents wouldn't have the time to properly teach them. After meeting a few other homeschooled people, I realized one, they're some of the best conversationalists I've met, and two, they are vastly intelligent. So my new position was further enforced by Moniz. 19%, and I quote, 19% of public school grads are functionally illiterate. That is almost one-fifth of all graduates cannot read at a functional level. Also, 4,000 times more likely to be abused. That is 4,000 times more likely to be abused. And 22% of them say that they have access to illicit drugs on the school property. Seems like our public schools aren't safe. Not as safe as it is at home. Common praises of socialization like healthcare and schooling in the name of equality are really turning moral positions into enforced law. Healthcare systems like Canada, Scandinavia, and Korea have a common criticism of the US system, sending people into debt to get their care. Well, in the US, the ER cannot turn you down regardless of your financial position, and I would say according to Whitman and Raad with Cato and the Peterson Foundation, US is leading in medical innovation, which may curb the cost for the other countries. $1.635 trillion, or 93.1% of student debts are federal loan debts. Right, Hansen, not only is this putting the risk on the taxpayer backs today, but talks of universal college would make non-college attendees foot the bill for other people's decisions. We can live and let live while still standing together. You can be a socialist in a free market system and be a traditionalist in a progressive world. It is not free because you don't pay for it today. Americans struggle with this idea, as we can see our massive amount of credit card debt. According to the Bureau of Fiscal Service, social programs such as Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid account for 22 to 25% of our total spending. This is a huge decision made for everyone today, as we weren't around to make it for ourselves. In closing, we can bridge the growing divide and promote more diversity in our country, removing laws at a federal level and allowing local and state level to make more decisions on how they'll be governed. allowing people to choose their own environment. We could stop building King George and embrace President George today. Thank you.